Hello, my name is Eric. I work for Climb On Equipment here in Squamish, and today we're here to talk about the upcoming, soon-to-be released Ohmega from Edelrid. So let's talk about the Ohmega and some basics. This device is a belay assistant, which is different from a belay resistor. It weighs 190 grams, which is significantly lighter than the grandfather, which would be the Ohm. It works well on ropes between 8.6 and 10.5, but we've found after using it for a bunch of weeks, in that 9 mil range works very well. And it has 3 settings. The 3 settings which allow heavier climbers to be belayed by lighter climbers. Add on 10 kg, 20 kg, or 30 kg. For those that work in pounds, it's 22 pounds, 44 pounds, or 66 pounds. The Ohmega's primary function is to reduce forces on the belayer. So for example, when a heavy climber takes a fall, it can often rip a smaller climber off the ground. This can result in them hitting their first draw, getting high forces, and it can be uncomfortable for the belayer. The Ohm was the grandfather that tackled this problem. The Ohmega is a belay assistant which solves that problem and additional problems which we're going to go over now. Okay, so let's talk about belay resistors. A belay resistor essentially clips onto the first bolt normally, and it adds friction into the system to protect the belayer. The problem in the past has often been with the Ohm and other devices, it adds a huge amount of friction, so when you're clipping as the leader, you have to be very careful clipping and it can be quite grabby. The new Ohmega has a pulley which eliminates the problem, so it's actually incredibly smooth. I've actually found it to be smoother than a quick draw. So let's have a look how this works. The Ohmega has a button on the side. You press the button and you open it up. Inside you'll see a pulley and you'll see a lever. Very similar to clamps down a rope, and a lot of rope clamps have a similar lever. Inside it's marked and you can see the climber. The other end goes to the belayer and you clip this on. You can now either, using a stick clip, attach this to the first bolt, or put this on your harness, ready to be clipped to the first bolt when you get there on lead. I just want to emphasize how easily this runs through the device. It runs over that pulley, making it exceptionally easy to clip. What makes this device stand out is a couple of things. One, it's really light, so you could use it on multi-pitches. But 2, you can also have 3 settings. So the 3 settings are adjusted by either pulling the triple pluses for all the weight, that's the 66 pounds or 30 kg, or you can bunny ear and clip both sides. That's what I would call the middle setting. And if you want the lower setting, you just pull this one out here. The most important part here is that you still want your belayer to get a dynamic catch. In the lab results, the behavior of the belayer had the biggest impact on the forces on the gear. So always remember, nice soft catches. So a few weeks back, we asked on social media what you wanted to know about this upcoming device, and here are the answers to your questions. What is the difference between a belay resistor and a belay assistor? A belay resistor really has one function, and that would be to allow a lighter climber to belay a heavier climber. A belay assistor actually offers more functionality because it will assist you also with the clipping on the first draw. It can be taken on multi-pitches, but it also will help in things like when your partner is dogging your route, it will help catch. So it does a variety of functions, and actually it helps not just in that one scenario. I really have to give credit to Edelrid here. They really are innovating almost a new category of devices. So the next question we see is, what's the difference between an Ohm and an Ohmega? The Ohm was an original belay resistor that added friction, but often gave quite a hard catch. This offers a softer catch and offers a variety of levels. So who is this for? The primary person this is for a team, usually a couple where there's a big weight difference in that couple. But I also want to point out this is for a lot of other people who would enjoy a smooth clip on the first, want some protection on the first belay. So for example, the guides are often using a fixed point belay. This would offer a level of protection to the belayer in case a crux was close to an anchor on a multi-pitch as well. Is the Ohm now obsolete because of the Ohmega? We got to be honest and say that the Ohmega is going to take a large chunk of that market away because it's a really slick device. However, for high use cases, gyms, where you're leaving it fixed in place, the Ohm still has a place. Does it make things safer? The Ohmega will make things safer for both the climber and the belayer. The belayer will get a much lower impact force hitting them, and they won't get jarred around. And the climber will get caught much more reliably, and so it'll be safe for both ends. The other part is you can fall directly on this. So if you clip to the first bolt and you fall, it will still work, unlike some other belay resistors on the market. Can it be used for multi-pitch climbing? Yep, this is light enough at 190 grams to be used multi-pitch climbing. The one scenario I see where it's being useful is where there's a crux close to an anchor and you want to protect the belayer from being pulled violently up. I would put this on the bolt, either left or the right bolt of the belay, extend the belayer down to put some distance between, and then it would protect the belayer from being hit from the falling climber from above. Can you use this traditional climbing? According to the Edelrid manual, it's not advised to use it traditional climbing. I wouldn't advise it because it does pull upwards, and that would require a multi-directional piece or multiple pieces. So I would use it primarily or almost exclusively on bolts. Can you use this for top rope climbing? Yes, absolutely. You can clip this to the anchor of a top rope, and you could clip a drawer next to it so it's backed up, and it will run over the pulley, top to bottom, and it will add enough friction to equal out the weight between the climber and the belayer. The alternative to placing it directly on the anchor would be to clip it to a nearby bolt on the belayer's side, and that would add friction into the system so it wouldn't have to go directly in the anchor. So it could be used in either configuration. We got asked whether you can use it top rope soling. I looked at this and I can't see a way this would work for top rope soling. It's not a rope clamp. It will just fall down the rope. This will not catch you at all in a top rope scenario. That would be different devices, not this. Does it release easily after a fall? There's a couple of ways to release it. The leader can either move their hips down a bit and it will drop because it's sprung loaded, or the belayer can move in a bit and give it a flick and it will drop down again. It does release significantly easier than the ohm. Does the lead climber feel resistance from it? Honestly, no. In fact, you feel less resistance because it's going over a pulley. Does it affect how a climber is lowered? What I found is that on the highest setting, when you're being lowered, when the device is engaged, it does add quite a lot of friction. So yes, you have to almost feed the rope into the device to lower you back down. So the higher the setting, the more it will affect the lowering. We got asked what would happen if I extended this from the first bolt. I chatted to Edelrid and they recommend this goes directly on the first bolt. It works much better that way.
Pull-in to catch, and I really like that there was really no rope drag like I did have with the original Ohm.
What's the main difference you found between the Ohm and the new Ohmega?
Way less rope drag, so when clipping there was less of a problem between the belayer and the climber.
And when you were lowering, how did it feel?
Super smooth, super easy. I wasn't getting pulled in. Normally I get pulled in quite a bit, or with the original Ohm, I would have to feed rope in, and that was not super smooth.
Any other thoughts on the device?
Yeah, it's lighter, it's smoother. I just like it overall. Can't wait to buy it.